Terrence Terrell, welcome to An Actor Despairs. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, it means so much, man. It's so cool watching you succeed and everything that you're doing with Be Positive, Room 104. I know you had such an incredible, your resume is awesome, but it's so cool that you're really starting to hit a stride, man. And I know so many amazing things are coming your way. I feel like it's just going to get this year, you're going to take over the world.
Oh, I like that. Yes, yes. Let's put it out there. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
2021.
Yes, it's been an amazing journey. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. 2020 was good to me, so it's been a really, really amazing journey. So I'm just fortunate, like I say all the time, it could be anybody else, but it's me.
That's amazing, man. I'm so happy to hear that. But if it's cool with you, let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in a little town called Cleveland, Mississippi. So I grew up there until I was 5. And then my mom moved us to San Diego. She wanted us to see that the world was bigger than Cleveland, Mississippi. So then I moved to San Diego when I was there until 15, moved back to Mississippi to help my grandmother with open heart surgery. You know, in the South, you always move back to help.
Yeah, I get it.
I moved back to help. And then it was the best thing for me. I moved back right at 15. So getting out of high school, going directly into college and getting into grad school. And I graduated at the age of 21 with a master's. So came right to LA and got right to it.
Where did you go for your master's?
I went to Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi for my master's, and undergrad was Mississippi Valley State University.
Got it. And did you get your master's in theater?
Yeah. No, I got my master in business.
Oh, look at you. A hustler. I love it. Entrepreneur.
Yeah, yes. So I got my master's in business. So it was my mother pushed me to get my master's, even though she only went to community college. She was like, you need your master's. And I'm glad at first I'm like, this is a waste of time, but I'm really, really glad that I did go to school because, you know, as an actor, you have 15 minutes if that much to sign a contract, mostly when you're co-starring and guest starring, to sign that contract and get on set. So I'm glad I was able to, you know, go through school and get like just the simple knowledge to be able to read through those contracts as fast as I can and make it make sense to me and then catch anything. Because at that point, you know, you don't have lawyers or anything when you're doing co-stars and stuff.
No, totally.
Yeah, school really matters. Yeah, school really matters.
That's great. I'm there now and I'm signing those contracts. I don't even know what, you know what I mean? Next time I have a contract, I'll have to ask you for advice. But so tell me, man, where did the artist bug come in?
The artist bug came in. I feel like as a kid, you know, we always had, I grew up with a single mom. So us always playing pretend to, you know, maybe even pretend like we weren't hungry because we knew she didn't have that much. Yeah. So just pretend like we were okay. I feel like I've been acting since I was 5, you know, doing certain things. And then my first performance was in, you know, of course, church theater. Yeah. And then that little thing came on and I wanted to be like Eddie Murphy on Boomerang.
Yeah.
And so I thought, so that's what made me go to college, actually, to be like Eddie Murphy. But I didn't understand as a child that I wanted to be Eddie Murphy. So It all worked out.
That's amazing. And did you do drama during high school and college at all?
You know, the funny thing about it is in middle school, they were doing a Princess Bride, right? And they wanted me to be we did that and they wanted me to be a character. I was like, no, I just want to be behind the scenes. I don't really want to be in front of the camera. And then we went on to do Hook and I was one of the Lost Boys.
Oh,
and I
nice.
was literally trying to get my mom to move. Yeah, so I was like, Mom, just move before the production so I won't have to perform. So I was scared to actually be on stage for a very long time.
You had stage fright, no way.
Yes, stage fright all the time. So I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to be behind the camera. But it thrust me into it, mass communications in college. You end up doing like certain things, doing exercises, like interviewing people. And the professor was like, you probably should really do this. You're really good. And that's what happened. I ended up going to, I did a couple of plays at Valley State. And I wanted to be a model when I came out to LA. So like skinny, not trying to do a beard.
I can tell.
So skinny, you know, just trying to do whatever. But then
I said, you're so handsome. I could totally see that.
Oh, cut it out. But, just still coming out here to do that. And then I think after my first fashion show, they gave me a bag with a t-shirt and a sneaker bar. And I was like, nah, where the money at? It was like, no, it's the experience, the pictures. And I said, I'm too big not to be eating. And I'm good. But as an athlete, I knew that there's work before the goal. So I'm like, I have to find out where the work is. So then I end up, being blessed with some amazing people who led me into like some great acting classes. And then sure enough, the acting and everything, I really was able to master the tool and the art. So that's where we are now.
So talk to me, what activated your decision to move to LA? Was New York ever on the table, or was it always LA?
LA was always on the table because LA just seems, I was familiar with San Diego, and California is really laid back. New York, I visited a couple of times. New York is gangster. The children walk fast out there. So if you are coming to New York and people are like, oh, I can't make it to LA, I'm gonna just go to New York and try it out. My friends who are actors out there in New York, they carry suitcases with them because they have 3 auditions across the bridge, and they got another audition, they got a dance audition, they got a singing audition, they got a commercial audition. So no, I was like, I'm going to LA. LA's laid back compared to New York. So yeah.
I'm in New York. And I'm one of those guys, so I get it, man. That's amazing. So talk to me, when you got there, LA can be a blessing and a curse because it's a city that revolves around one business. So how did you integrate yourself into the community, and did you find a mentor, or what was your process?
You know what? The thing that I knew, just like I said, the mindset, I don't know. I always thank God for my mind because I was like, if I'm not on set, if I'm not speaking in front of the camera, there's ways to get on set and just be in an environment, like you go to the gym every day. So you need to be in that atmosphere. So I encourage a lot of people, like especially actors, not really knowing, because a lot of my friends, especially, well, not my friends, I don't want to say friends, because they didn't tell me about LA casting or anything else, or like how to get a casting or an audition, because they, quote unquote, at the end, they told me I evolved too quick. So they knew if they gave me the information, I will go above them.
Yeah.
It was, it's really weird in LA like that. Yeah, you got to be very careful.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful. And that's girls and boys, your friends who, even though I'm a male, I had female friends who felt intimidated by me as well. So you just really have to be careful on the energies that you let in your circle,
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do it the real way, do certain things like background. I started doing background acting. I started doing audience work. I started doing stand-ins work just to be in front of the camera and see how the world moves. So when I got that first co-star, I wasn't, ignorant to certain things like up front move, stage left, stage. I knew the lingo already because of the background work and the stand-in work that I did. So it helps you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so cool. I love that. And when you got there, were you immediately, did you find an acting studio or a coach? Or what was the journey like on that regard?
No, when I first got here, like I said, nobody was telling me anything. Actually, there was one amazing casting director who told me she could see, she was like, oh, you should be acting. I'm like, that's what I'm trying to do. And it was a party I went to. And after the party, Nissa Williams is her name. And she went through LA casting for me. And she showed me like what my profile picture should be, what should be on my resume, what I should do here, what I should do there. And that helped me because I think the next day after that, I booked Kanye West's Love Lockdown, the music video.
Yeah.
So I booked that. And then, so I learned through LA casting that, basically I became my own agent. I started submitting myself on certain things. So then I got into like making sure my profile was the profile pictures were good, and then making sure I did reels. So then at that point, I started to do student films because people don't look, they only want to get paid, but I knew I needed to do student films to get the reel to then be able to send into casting. So, you know what I mean? And student films are really amazing because you got to remember these students are getting grades to graduate on this work. So their productions are top line most of the time.
Yeah.
So did that, and that's the way I churned all the work out and got on there because I did like 5 or 6 student films that got me the footage from it, quality footage. And then slowly but surely, I then was able to build a reel. And then, of course, after your first reel, a year later, I had another reel because I had the co-stars and the guest stars, and I had another reel. And then now, literally, my agent just said last week, I need to make another reel.
No
so
way.
It's a learning block. Yeah, I have to make another reel with all the work that I have now. So, because after the Emmy and everything, you still want, my team always like, you still have to make sure people know you have to do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So even on set. Yeah, even on set.
I love that. No matter what level you're at, you got to keep doing it. And I'm so curious,
you gotta keep doing it.
As being your own agent, you got yourself Love Lockdown. What was that experience like?
Love Lockdown. So I got that audition, and so the audition. I did some crazy stuff. So Love Lockdown, right? I did some crazy stuff. Love Lockdown. They told me to come and bring, and they needed tribal. I think I got an audition for the tribal leader, the ancestor leader or something. So everybody else, they was like, just wear briefs. They're going to make you take your shirt off, so wear briefs. So I literally, for Love Lockdown, I did my tribal makeup. I looked like The Rock on Scorpion King.
Yeah,
I got a big ponytail. Yeah. So I got a big ponytail. I got the cool stuff. I came in there with like the arm wrappings and stuff. And I walked in there and everybody's like, oh, he's here to get the role. So that worked with that. And I booked it in, going from one character, Kanye saw me, and I did one character to being able to do 4 characters for him. And then he asked me to stay longer to get the last shot with him, like where it's just going to be me and him inside of the home or whatever. And of course, I had this big thing on me. You can't tell it was me, but my mom recognized me by my ankles. She was like, "Those are my baby ankles." So she knew me.
That's adorable.
But yeah, I'd say like the first time I did that, so she knew. She was like, "You were next to Kanye." I was like, "How do you know?" She's like, "I know that the ankles and them toes from anywhere. You're my baby." So I was like, "Oh, so yeah, that was sweet."
That's amazing. And so that was a great experience for you?
Yeah, it taught me that even on set, you always have to be alert. When you get on set, you have to, as soon as you pull on that driveway, wherever they tell you to park, turn on, leave everything else that's going on with the personal world, leave it behind, because they could have picked anybody else, but they picked you. So it taught me to stay on throughout set, because if not, Kanye would have never asked me to stay 5 extra hours to then do another scene and do some other things for him. So it was like, I knew that I learned a lot, just being on and always, being attentive, watching, not being an actor that falls asleep in the chair because it's quote unquote background or whatever, just always being on and understanding, and just being able to, you get one shot. So when you get it, kick that door open.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love that advice. And I imagine that really kind of activated you to having that experience. So like, you want to, once you get that taste of it, as an actor, I get it. You want it again. So were you doing like actors access, backstage, all of that to keep getting work?
Oh, yes. Yes. After that, I got into backstage. Then that's when you learn that there's more than just LA casting. So the world started opening up. And when you're on set with background artists or anybody else, most of the time, most of them want to talk to you. So you talk and then you'll learn a lot. Like I learned about actors access through a background job that I did. I learned about getting audience works where you can get paid in cash so that you can eat right away compared to waiting for a check. Then I learned about central casting, where you can literally go stand in line like 4 o'clock in the morning. But once you get in there, they build you a profile, and now you don't have to worry about looking for background work, because they're sending you background work every 5 minutes to see if you're right. They're pitching you as, so I got into that central casting, and then shortly, but slowly I got into the acting class. In that point, it took me, 2-3 years to start. I got my first co-star on Criminal Minds, and then worked my way up into, at that point, I was standing in for Snoop Dogg. So my agent at that point, I ended up firing 5 agents. So I was on my agent Abstract Talent. You have to know that, I don't expect anybody to work harder than me, but I have an amazing team now where they work very hard.
Well,
and
I
so
think
I'm like,
that's
oh my God.
critical advice, because most actors think I just need an agent and then I'll be okay, But if anything, the work intensifies.
Yes. And so if you're already programmed to work out hard for yourself, by the time the agent and the manager, and they give you these appointments where these opportunities where they're bigger than anything that you ever could have got for yourself, but you're already programmed to work hard. So when they give you these opportunities, you're not getting into the room and just blacking out. You already are ready for the challenge. So and also being able to know when it's not working. Some people are with the agents, and I remember I was like, I never want a manager. Managers take extra money because you hear all these horror stories like, my manager hasn't called me in 5 months, but that's because you're just sitting at home and you're waiting for your manager to give you the work. Compared to me, I was already coming with all this work, and my agents at that time weren't doing as much as they needed. So at that time, I ended up getting with Abstract, and Abstract got me the appointment for Criminal Minds, but I was already ready and programmed because I was on set on Snoop Dogg and Martha's show. I was his stand-in, and I got a call back, and I had to leave a stand-in gig to run for the co-star gig. So the director allowed me to go, but he's like, how's a stand-in? Now the stand-in needs a stand-in. So he said, you better book it. Yeah, so I went out there and I booked it, and that's how it all started as well. But I got Criminal Minds, and at that point you're thinking like, okay, I made it. I don't need to do background anymore. But my agents were saying like, oh yeah, don't really do any more background because they may want to move this character. So with me, I was like, well, that's not going to help me at home. I can't just wait until somebody give me an opportunity. So I continue doing background. I continue doing commercial background as well. That's when I started doing commercial background, because you realize that commercial background pays more than regular background. So there's levels,
Yeah.
So with a commercial background, if you hit a certain hour, you can make anywhere from $300 coming in automatically. A regular background, you make up to 180, I believe. I'm giving y'all some math.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Within a day. Yeah. So then if you hit a certain hour or golden hour with that, you can make what? Maybe $700.
Yeah.
But on commercials, you come in at $360. You hit that golden hour. And then that also, when you want to hit this golden hour, because you will almost make $1,000 or $1,500 for that day. But that also comes with all the tools that you've learned from the other background work, because the background people, usually the ADs are watching you. They want to keep the people who are actually moving and working and doing whatever, and not hiding, to do the work, or just sitting at crafty eating. They want the people who are moving and doing the work, because that's a representative of them now. So I learned to be good to the ADs, always be attentive, always paying attention, not just goofing off when I'm on set, even though I'm background, quote unquote. And then, of course, I got a couple of golden hours. So now I'm making from $360 to like $1,500, sometimes $2,500 in one day, just for being background, because they're keeping me on. I'm the one that's sitting there smiling, waving, making sure I'm on point, making sure I'm paying attention, and making sure I'm working with the directors and knowing what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So that's a whole art in itself.
Yeah.
And then the great thing about commercial background, I'm giving you guys a lot of knowledge.
No, this
the great
is what
thing
I
about
want.
Commercial background. So the great thing about commercial background, if you're on the commercial, right? And this is a trick. It's not a trick. It's a trick. But if you're on commercial background, if you're doing really, really well, they'll keep you for that golden hour. But the trick to SAG is you're part of the union. If you're in a commercial and they show your face for more than a second or 2 seconds, now you are entitled to principal. So now you get a principal cut of the commercial, and then you possibly get residuals. Every time that commercial get ran, you get paid for that. So you woke up that morning trying to be a background for $360, but now you paid attention on set, you're on point, and now you got asked to stay for the golden hour. So not only did you get paid triple the amount of money that you were supposed to start off that day, now you're possibly in the commercial. Now when the commercial airs and you see your face for more than a second or two, and you can make out your identity on the commercial, that's when you call your union rep, and then your union rep will then contact commercial like, oh, well, you have to give him principal rate because now he's established in the commercial.
Wow.
So there's like, you always just want to just be a good person, and all this stuff will just fall in your lap. You know
That's
what I mean?
amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's so
Yeah.
wonderful. And then
Yeah.
did eventually Criminal Minds ever bring you back, or did that not end up happening?
No.
Their
No, Criminal
loss.
Minds, that character, I got saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they were about to end. It was like that next year they were about to end. So they were on their final season. But at that point, I started to go in for pilot auditions and things like that. And then that's the other thing. Being an actor, a lot of people coming up are saying, like, don't be a commercial actor. Commercials are lazy. But I'm like, commercials. Thank
Are
God I
paying
didn't
my
listen
bills.
to that because of the whole Exactly. Now
Yeah.
I'm the motor, and I thought it was just one commercial, but it's an entire campaign. So I've done 28 national commercials with Progressive already, and that's including
Wow.
radio and commercials. So it's like you just have to be so open to everything. You can't get stuck as an actor, just quote unquote being an actor, because it is called show business. So
Yeah.
you always want to make sure you're doing a business part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you learn the business smart part, and then also, because everybody wants to be an artist, but also knowing that these stories that you're being blessed to tell, it comes with a responsibility. So now you have to also be an artist, but then also you have to handle your business as well, making sure that you're not just letting your agent cut all your checks. You're waiting for checks to come. The checks can come directly to you, get an LLC, and then you cut your agent their commission. You know what I mean? So it's show business. You have to have both to really have a career out here.
And it sounds like, that master, degree really helped you know all this, I mean, that's incredible wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
It's amazing. It all comes full circle.
Yes. You're always a student. And you're always a student. If you're an artist, you're always a student.
And once you got that first co-star, were you starting to then go up for guest stars and reoccurring, or was it mainly more co-star guest star?
It was a couple more co-stars. But then I got my amazing manager, Kaylin. She was at Principal. I met her through my teacher, Sally Pressman. She was Kaylin was an assistant to a manager. She was becoming a manager at the company. And, you're hearing all these horror stories about managers in class. So I'm like, I don't want a regular manager. My manager needs to be gangster. Yeah. And Sally was like, I think Kaylin's going to be the perfect perk for you. So Kaylin then got all my dreams, everything I talked to her, we had a meeting. She then put it in a world to the point where, like, okay, you want to get here. So now, once again, you have a co-star. So now we got to get a couple more co-stars. And then we got to say no to co-stars, and we got to get guest stars. Yeah. And we get a couple of guest stars. Then you say no to guest stars, and that's just something really, really special. Now we only are focusing on recurring. And she told me after the guest star, she was like, okay, T, we may be a couple of, it may be a little slow because now I'm only submitting you for recurring. And she's a whole master at this. Like, it's like playing chess. So then I became recurring. So now you're getting, I got like 2 or 3 recurring under my belt. And then it became series regular and lead. You know what I mean? So it's still every time you get to a level in your career, there's still another level you have to go up to, then another level. So with that, that's how my resume grew. And also, if you're doing guest stars and recurring, now if somebody sends you a co-star and casting sends you a co-star, you have to think about that. Like, okay, so if you went to a guest star recurring and casting sends you a co-star, if you go backwards into the co-star, now casting's like, okay, cool. Then yes, so exactly. So you got to know when to say no at a certain level and keep going up.
So was the Notorious and Tupac project your first reoccurring?
Yeah, and I got that. I was with wow, you're bringing me back. I forgot about that.
That's what I'm here for. Yeah,
I'm like, yes. So Kaylin got me. That was my first recurring. So I got that, and that's when things started happening. I was with Anthony Hemingway, and I'll give you that story in a little while too, because I did a couple of episodes there. And Anthony Hemingway directed that, amazing director. And always, I'm still, and I feel like everybody should do background because it puts a hustle mentality in you, but it humbles you as well. Yeah. So you're not coming to set with an ego, you know what I mean? Because you know what it feels like for the director or anybody not to even call your name, not even caring about what your name is. Yeah. Compared to now, the director is calling your name and they're establishing your shot and your angle and everything. So now, just being me, being a good person. I'm not saying be phony. Be yourself, but just treat people the way you want to be treated. Because now, who would have known 5 years later Now that I have 4 books out and I have an animated short, Anthony Hemingway teamed up with me now, and now my animated short
is going to series,
and
right?
talk with huge. Yes, series in the actual short. Yeah, so it's a lot of great things going on with a relationship that I had with this guy, 5 years ago.
Yeah, wow. So it just he really became an anchor in your life.
Yeah, so I met him, and I knew after the set, I knew of him. We weren't close or anything, but he knew I was a good person. I knew he was a good person. And you have to remember that in LA, that's how things work. You can't go around using or just trying to get in and get what you need out of somebody and leave. You have to treat people, because relationships out here will take you way further than your talent will.
Yeah, so true. I mean, people don't take that is at its word and its value as it should. And I'm curious, working on so many LA projects like Shameless and Modern Family, did those kind of, because those projects are so globally successful, did that really help you get in front of bigger and bigger rooms?
Yeah, so Modern Family helped me get in there. But then when I got Shameless was the thing that I saw that really start moving things. When I booked Shameless, it was a guest star. And it's funny thing is, it was 4th of July. They gave me the audition the 3rd of July. So then the next day was the 4th of July. They were having an audition the 5th of July. Oh, wow. So when I went into the audition, I went directly to a producer session. So at this point with casting, I established that I can do the work, and they know they can trust me with the work. So when you get straight to a producer session, that means the casting director is literally putting their name and career on the line for you. Because they're saying, like, these are the 3 people I know that can do this. But remember, it's the 4th of July. So I took responsibility. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed at home. I studied. I made sure I was ready for my audition for the next day. So when I got in that room, you can see a couple of guys in there. They were still at the 4th of July party. I was ready when I got in there. It wasn't, I did it 2 times. And then before I walked off the lot, it doesn't take 3 or 4 days for them to make the decision. As soon as I walked off the lot, I got a call saying, like, okay, you're pinned for it.
That's amazing. That's
because you got to remember, casting wants to book you just as much as you want the job, because it's their job to find somebody. So if they know they can entrust you with the job, they're going to book you, because that means they don't have to see 1,500 people.
Yeah, their job's done for the day.
Yeah, so when you go on casting, any audition you go out for, you shouldn't be nervous. Don't be nervous. It's a team effort. When you get into that room, figure out what they need, what they want from you. You bring your best stuff to the table. And if they give you a direction in the room, a lot of times I usually oh my God, I'm not doing it right. They just asked me to do something else. No, that means you're doing something great. They just want to, move a couple of things around to make sure you hit the mark even harder to have a good tape to send off to producers.
That's amazing. And moving into things like Bigger, and Bosch, was it cool to then suddenly be in this consistent reoccurring place in your career, like getting to work with some of the most amazing names in the business?
Yes. Blackish was very amazing. Like Tracy Ellis Ross. And it was just Anthony. It was crazy. It was an amazing feeling. But at the same time, now you're sitting next to Tracy Ellis Ross, and you have a dialogue. You have dialogue with Anthony Anderson. You have dialogue with all these amazing, great people that you looked up to when you were trying to get to this point. So you still have to hold your own. But at the same time, I knew I did the work to belong there. I knew I was right where I belonged. So with that, the recurrings were great. And it just became second nature. When you're not thinking about your goals and you know that this is what you're planning to do, there's no plan Bs for me. I know what I want. I'm going to put the work in for it. I'm going to be a good person. All of it just start pouring in. And I did Bigger, but then I was doing 104. The week before Bigger, I did a room 104 with Linda Lavin, who's actually on the show, who's actually on Be Positive with me now. Oh, so imagine if I wasn't nice on that set, and now I'm a serious regular on this set, it would have just been horrible, right?
Yeah.
So the Bigger of it that week of, it was crazy because I was on 8 planes, because now the Motor campaign was about to start. So now Monday, Tuesday, I was flying out of LA back and forth to Ohio. Then I flew directly into Atlanta, filmed that, and then I flew back. We wrapped Friday at 5 a.m. I got on plane at 6 a.m., got to LA at 12, did another audition, and went to the Emmys an hour later, won the Emmy, came back home, directly home, no partying.
Talk about that.
Directly.
I mean, well, was that because of COVID or?
No, this was, I came home. The reason I came directly home was because I was tired.
Wow, look at you.
I was tired. It was an entire week of, the motor of it all, the show. I still had to show up and do my job for the show and then go out for an Emmy. I was nominated for it. So to even get on back on a plane to fly back to LA, and then I came home and I had to go back. So then I came back, went directly to the Emmys and won. But now I had to get right back on set. I got there at 7 a.m. and I got right on set at 8 and had to perform right away. Got right on set and got in costume and did whatever and still had to perform for 3 days there and then came home.
Wow.
So it was a whirlwind of it was amazing. Amazing.
How did stamina wise, how did you prepare yourself for that? Or did you just figure it out as you went?
I figured it out as I went because I'm one of the ones who I forget to eat sometimes on set and I forget to drink water. Yeah. So I remember I was so tired. If you watch when I won the Emmy, there's a point after I walked away because that thing is like 15, 20 pounds.
It looks like it.
It's heavy, it's huge, it's right over there. But I walked and I had to, it looks like I was backing up. I almost fell because I was that tired. And it was so heavy. I was like, I stumbled a little bit. So yeah, you have to learn, like now I try to nourish myself and I do meal prep and meal planning. There's some great services out here like Eat Naked, where you can actually plan your meals. So then as an artist, you're not worried about eating because you still have to fuel yourself. So
and
it's
as
so
an
much
athlete,
stuff.
You're taken care of.
Yes. And then also I'm always working out every day. I try to work out at least an hour or two, and it keeps you humble. Even after set, I come home and try to work out. So you always know that it's a grind. You know what I mean? I think some people get to a point where they're like, I don't have to do any of this, but no, you have to stay in it if you want it to be a career.
And I'm curious, having worked in a blend of drama and comedies, was there one that you felt more, inspired to do, or do you enjoy both?
I enjoy both. I like both.
Yeah.
But multicam?
I can only imagine.
Oh my God. So let's talk
about how Be Positive came your way. When did, because it started in 2020. Was this
COVID? Yeah. During COVID.
So did you get the role before COVID started?
No. I got the role in October during COVID.
No way.
But this is a testament, and thank you for bringing that up, because this is a testament about the hard work. People love and they admire people who work hard. So when you get these auditions, let's say like you get an audition. So for Chuck Lorre's office, that casting office, I was getting auditions for maybe 3 years prior from being where I am. And sometimes the auditions didn't make any sense. They're like, they want like a 45-year-old group home volunteer. Like, it's just like crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I still showed up. I didn't turn it down like, this isn't me. I'm not feeling the work. You're an actor. You feel the work. You make yourself feel it. Act as if you feel the work, right?
Totally.
Actor. So I would still go up with my best foot forward as if I'm a 45-year-old man going for a great opportunity. So at that point, I built a relationship with casting to the point where I may have not been right. So when we don't get these roles, it's not because your work was horrible and, oh my God, you didn't wear the right makeup, your hair was horrible, you're too dark. No, it's the role wasn't for you.
Yeah.
And so we moved on. So during COVID, I booked a movie with Miles Teller that ended up getting on hiatus. And sure enough, I get a script for Be Positive and fell in love with it right away because I found out it was about dialysis. My grandmother went for dialysis. So I did one take. I was here with my best friend, Jamel. We did one take because I don't sit.
Oh, it was a self-tape.
Self-tape. So they said I did a self-tape, went in the room, did my self-tape, came back out, ate something, went to sleep, right? And I get a call that I was pinned. And then it was only supposed to be a guest star recurring, but then I ended up finding out that day that I got pinned for that, and I got pinned for 2 other projects.
Oh my
Truth
God.
be told,
Terrence, you're crushing the game.
Yeah, but it's like, so I get pinned for 3 things, right? So I'm like, this is history in the making. So I got pinned for 3 things, and just because I have a great relationship with my team, they were like, we need to always, lead with grace. So they then had to go to each casting director like, hey, we're just letting you know he got pinned for all this. So then we heard that Chuck was like, nope. He's booked. We're making him series regular. Boom.
Oh, man. Now you're getting Charlie Sheen money.
So, well, not yet. Not yet. Hopefully soon. That money that make you go crazy. But but no, so we did that in just 1 tape. I didn't have to do a chemistry read. I didn't have to do a producer. No, I did 1 tape. 1 tape and done, because I've done so much work for the casting office that they knew I could do it.
They trust you. That's amazing.
Yeah. So now you're getting trusted with people's livelihood, and also you have to make sure you show up your best self. And then now this is be positive. The amazing thing about this show, this is real life. My grandmother was on dialysis. So now you have to educate yourself on what it feels like to be in that dialysis chair, because people are watching this every week and seeing a mirror. You're putting a mirror up. So you want to make sure you're bringing your best foot forward to that as well. So yeah, it's all amazing. So it's hard work every week. And so with multicam, you work it. I went in doing like 1 or 2 days a week on other shows. Multicam, I'm there Monday morning all the way to Friday now.
Well, like a proper corporate job almost.
Yes, it's a proper corporate job.
Yeah.
And we're rehearsing Monday, Tuesday, half of Wednesday. We start filming at 4:00 on Wednesday from the rehearsal, from lunch. And then you go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you're performing in your high stakes, and you're making sure you have the jokes. You're making sure you have your points from your head to your toe.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you could, I think one of the hardest things for actors is comedy. I firmly believe it's harder than drama.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So when you got this show, and it's multicam, did you work with a coach, or did you just kind of figure it out as you went? Or
see, and this is the thing, you're laying, as you are wishing for these opportunities, lay your path. So I didn't have to, because I went to Leslie Kahn, and she's amazing with multicam comedy. And when I first got in there, I was like, oh, comedy's easy, but comedy is a science. They have the math to it already. So the 1, 2, 3 is threes, go up on here.
Yeah,
you don't go down, you go up.
Cadences.
The cadence, everything is already in stone. So since I was there for 5 years before I went to Diana Castle, I feel like Diana Castle is the graduate school of acting, and then Leslie was like cool college times.
Yeah.
But because of that, there was a cadence that I already knew. So I could tap back into it without that much. But then I also, sometimes I read a couple of scripts with amazing teacher, Trisha. Trisha's amazing. She was at Leslie Kahn. So like little private coaching here and there, but no, I already had the groundwork for multicam.
Yeah. Wow. And I mean, talk to me about filming this during a pandemic. Was, I imagine the protocol's pretty gnarly. Is it,
Yeah. We get tested. There's a couple of things coming out in the next couple of episodes I don't want to give away.
Oh, okay.
But now I'm getting tested. Usually we get tested Monday for the rapid, and then you get a PCR Monday as well. So you get a rapid right away to get on set. So we get rapid, we get tested maybe 3 times a week, but now I get tested 5 times a week because of more interaction with the characters on the show. That's it.
Are there extras yet or no?
Yeah, so we have extras, so they're getting tested. So after all the protocol, Monday and Tuesday, you're saying words with like shields and a face mask.
Yeah.
But after the protocol and it's time to perform, I always have to like relax my mouth, because now you have to perform. It's like you're taking weights off your ankle from running. So now if you're not safe, you're talking too fast. So I try to make sure now that my cadence is different, because you have the mask on, you have the shield on.
It all sounds different, yeah.
But now it's the safest place in the world, because you know that everybody's been tested, everybody's following the protocol. We have amazing people on set who are walking around like every 2 minutes just doing sanitizing stuff, wiping the doorknobs down. So it's like the safest place in the world now.
That's so beautiful.
And
man.
to book it through during a pandemic, for me to book a series regular in my first feature role on a movie, I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you always have to build it. You always have to build it.
Well, you deserve it, brother. You worked
Thank
so
you.
hard and you weren't above it. And I love that about your journey. I mean, it's very few actors can say that, man. And
Yes.
I know I'm only just getting to know you, but I'm so proud of you. And
thank you.
Yeah, man.
And see, that's the other great thing, Ryan, right? Because even though we're from different walks of life, I feel like, especially at Diana Castle's class, right? When you book something, the entire class book something.
Yeah.
So as an actor, when you see another person that you can relate to, when they're booking something, there's no reason to be jealous or, oh, well, why is my agent working? Or, who is his agent? No, congratulate them because that's their role. That was meant for them. And you continue on your path because when it comes, when it rains, it pours. And you'll be running around, jumping from one meeting, late for another meeting. So it's a lot of work.
Oh, it gives me hope, man. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
And we all need that right now. And I got to ask about All-Star Weekend. Can you talk about that project and working with Jamie Foxx?
Yeah, so I did that project maybe 3 years ago.
Oh,
isn't that crazy?
Wow. It's taking that long for, I guess, the pandemic,
The pandemic, and I think they had some production stuff they had to get through and some other stuff. But I got that through background work.
What?
Yeah. So always treat people like you want to be treated because you never know what's in your path. So if I have been one of those lazy background artists not showing up and being 100%, they would have never thought of me to send directly to Jamie Foxx's company. Be like, oh, he could be LeBron because he looks like LeBron. And sure enough, it was a no-brainer. So I'm like, I never hardly see it until you do profile. I'm like, okay, whatever. But working with him was amazing because he's a true fan of LeBron. And the Eva Longoria, I was able to work with her. They're amazing. It was amazing cast. And so just always being on because you never know who is going to be the person to tie the knots together for you. Yeah. So I got that through background. And so it's an amazing movie. It's going to be really, really funny. I play LeBron James and there's another guy that plays Steph Curry. So it's all about Jamie Foxx trying to get in the same room with LeBron. So they're going to go through a crazy journey to get there. And then at the end, you probably end up throwing your TV out the window because it's a crazy ending.
Did you get to meet LeBron?
No, I have never met him. It's not.
It's going to happen, though. It's kind of.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Because even you remember the Sprite commercials with LeBron James? And he was like, I wouldn't. So I came in for an audition to be one of his friends. And I'm like, this isn't going to work. They're going to be like, he looks like him. But I go into. But I still, just like the 45-year-old man, I still showed up to do the work. So I'm in a casting room, the hallway. There's other people waiting, and people are whispering. I see phones coming up and taking
people
pictures.
think you're LeBron.
And I'm like, what is going on? So and this isn't pandemic, so we don't have masks or anything on. So I'm sitting like, okay. So we get in the room, and the casting director is looking at me. Everybody's like, he said, say your name. I said, Terrence Terrell. And there was a sign of relief from everybody. They're like, oh my God, we thought you was LeBron. And I said, why would he be at his own commercial audition waiting in line?
Just some punk prank shit,
So now I'm leaving. I'm like, oh, I ain't getting this shit. I know I'm not going to book this because now they think I'm LeBron. Yeah. So then I get a call back to be one of his friends. I'm like, okay, this is stupid. But when I walked in, they didn't want me to be LeBron. They didn't want me to be his friend. They wanted me to be him. So there was going to be a bit in it where he was going to say, even if don't drink Sprite, even if the guy who looks like me says drink Sprite, don't drink Sprite. And then I was going to do the Sprite thing. But that part I guess got cut. But I was very excited. But you never know. You never know. You never know. And then with the motor of it all, I got pinned for, and pins are still just like, just tell me yes and no.
Yeah,
and I didn't know what a pin was. A pin is basically, they like you, they want you, they're still just trying to figure out the dates and production and see if it works and if they're going to keep that role. Yeah. And so I was pinned for 3 commercials. I was like, please, I just want one commercial, one national commercial.
Yeah.
And I dropped from Toyota, the new Old Spice guy, and GMC or something. That next week, the motor came up and I almost didn't go to an audition because it was raining in LA. But I went and got a call back and I said, they're not going to pick a black man to be a motorcycle. Like, this don't make no sense. And I get in there and there's a guy that looked like he eats motorcycles sitting there. I'm like, oh, that's the guy, right?
Yeah.
So I get into the room and the director stands up and comes and shakes my hand. And he's like, you were the one I needed to see. I could only see a few, and you were definitely one of the ones. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so, you know, in commercials, they have maybe two sides. And if you get to the second side, you're like, cool, they like me. So there was two sides, and he gave me a third side. Then he gave me a fourth side, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. And by the time we got done, I was in there for like 30 minutes and I did 10 spots for them in a room. So I'm like, okay, what is going on? And these spots weren't outside. They only gave us 2. So there was 10 extra spots in there. I'm like, something's going on. So I was on hold for it, of course, on a Friday. So I had to go through the entire weekend thinking about it. That Monday casting call, like, what's your size? I'm like, oh my God. It's like, we don't know who got it yet. We don't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, 9 a.m. She said, we'll call you back before the end of the day. So I'm thinking end of the day is 5 o'clock. Didn't hear anything. I'm like, I'm just going to go to Dave & Buster's. So at 10 o'clock, I'm on a Mario Kart ride at night.
At the Hollywood and Highland one?
Right, at Hollywood and Highland. So I'm on a Mario Kart ride. Like, I'm still amazing.
Yeah.
You know, they're lost. It's fine. I'm going to be all right. On Mario Kart, right? Like, you know, it's fine. I'll get another one. It's fine. I hate commercials. And sure enough, my agent texted me, said, did you get your email? I was like, what email? Open it. She was like, she called, she said, Terrence, you booked it. You're in the Motor. And I was like, oh, great. So the week of where I'm like, cool, 1 commercial, yes. And I go and they're doing a whole week of fittings. People are coming to my house at midnight, walking my dog while they're still fitting me for the Motor of it all. And sure enough, I was like, wow, this is a lot of fuss for 1 commercial. And he said, no, you're doing 5 in 2 days. And I was like, 5 national commercials? He was like, yeah. I was like, cool. Of course.
You're going to Paris for a year next year, bro.
I was like, yeah, 5 commercials. Yeah, cool. And by the same time, it's a lot of work. Like I'm in that contraption for 12 hours getting it. But yeah, so I ended up getting it. And it's been life-changing. It's been life-changing.
Oh, it's so great to hear justice prevailing for you, Terrence, man.
Yes, and never give up, you know, just never give up. And what's for you is for you. You know what I'm saying? And just have the right people around you who are telling you no when you were going to look dumb, telling you, just having your back and really having that real authentic friendship with people. That really, really goes a long, long way.
Yeah, beautiful advice. Well, final few questions, brother, because I don't want to take up all your time.
Oh, take your time. It's all you. You got me, so you take your time. Take your time.
Can you talk about the animated series and when we might see
that?
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan. When I tell you, I can say a couple of names. When I tell you I'm doing, so mind you, it's crazy how life works, how things connect, right? So dialysis. I was 15 when I saw my grandmother start dialysis. Well, 17. So I was there. I saw her. I was going to the dialysis center. So I had respect for people I know the nurses, just really good respect for them. So now my grandmother used to dress like Diana Ross going to dialysis. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm making it entertaining. So now I'm on a show that makes dialysis entertaining, like in real life.
Yeah.
And then now I wrote a book called Blackie out of depression when I went to therapy and stuff, because the criminal mind thing really, really got me. I went there and I just remember that the first couple of hours of that set, I'm like, they're going to knock on a door. And this has happened a few times in my head. I'm like, they're going to knock on the door and tell me I'm not the guy. They picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, we got the right guy, get out of our trailer. And the knock never comes. I'm like, cool, I'm still in. Yeah. So I would be like anxious throughout the entire thing. Like, oh my God, I just want to do a good job because they're going to say I'm not the guy. So I went through therapy and realized there's a lot of stuff from my childhood. So I started writing. I'm like, I'm going to write a script. But it wasn't a script, it was a book. So I thought, oh, this is a cool children's book. So I self-published it, paid for everything myself.
Wow. Where can people purchase it?
iCrownMe.com.
iCrownMe.com.
So I have now, and Blackie means be loving, adoring, caring, and kind to yourself. It's, just about self-love. So I ended up writing, my mom passed. I wrote another book about her, Superheroes Every Day, the She's. Then the 3rd book came, the 4th book came. The 5th book with the George Floyd happening, I'm Mrs. Tina, Beyonce's mom, Tina Knowles Lawson. It's Tina's Angels and Richard's Warriors. I'm a head mentor for them.
Wow.
So we're here in this room, and we're on Zoom now because we can't go hug the kids or anything. So it's a pandemic. George Floyd just happened. We had to call an emergency meeting just to check on the babies because most of them are minorities.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and you got like 80 boxes of kids crying, losing their mind. And you can't touch them. You can't hug them and tell them it's going to be okay. And they're scared to be Black or scared to be Mexican. They're scared to be minorities. So I'm like, oh my God. So then next thing you know, Skin Deep came up to us. It was a story where I really tried to wash my skin color off when I was a kid because I didn't want to be Black anymore. And out of fear and other things that were going on at home. But now all of these works, I ended up coming up with this. I was like, I'm going to do a Kickstarter to get this out and hopefully get into festivals, even maybe win an Oscar or something.
Yeah. And
so sure enough, I went back to 6 Point Harness in their animation house. They said, cool, we'll do this. You did Kickstarter, we'll do it. Then Anthony Hemingway, I saw him on Instagram and I'm like, hey, can you give me some money for this? And I sent him the link. He calls me and says, I want to back you with my production company to do this. We need this story right now. So I'm like, okay. So now I'm on the show. The other book came out, and now 6 Point Harness is here. Anthony Hemingway's here. And now I'm in these meetings, pitch meetings with DreamWorks, Netflix, Apple, Paramount, all these amazing companies who now want my work. And it's amazing because I started off and I own all my work. So I paid and I own it right out, 100% of everything. So now going into these meetings, I don't have to worry about having bad people connected to my work, trying to get it off the ground. It's just me and real stories, and it's my heart work, you know?
Yeah.
And so now we got some really, really exciting things coming up.
Oh man, I can't wait to see.
And when I tell you the company that it seems like it's going to be with, it's going to knock your socks off. It's literally like, it's mind blowing about how a dark place for me has become a place of hope for other people. You know what I mean? Through my books and everything else I do. So that's why I always say, like, even though we don't really know each other like that, I'm your brother as you are my brother. Yeah. I win, you win, I win. Yeah. And that's why you always just have to network and just treat people the way you want to be treated. And always just put your best foot forward in everything, because you never know where that journey is going to take you. The person that you were rude to at a student film because the director is a student film, those kids are going to school to become directors in Hollywood. So that same director that you were disrespectful to as a student is now you're buying to try to be on one of his projects. Oh, man. So treat the people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I'm curious, because it has been such just excuse my language, just a fucking dark year of racism and bigotry and hate, as a Black man in Hollywood. Do you feel like, I know we're getting better representation wise, but I mean, what do you think, I may not look it, but I'm half Mexican, but like,
wow.
Yeah. Perez is my last name, but what do you think can be done more? How can we help each other?
You know what I'm finding out with my books, right? So the she's, there's a lesson about DNA. All of us have 99.9% of the same DNA as humans. So I'm like, that's almost a whole dollar, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all of us are really brothers and sisters if you really want to look at it through that real lens. So all of us are brothers and sisters. And so with that, just have empathy for people. You know what I'm saying? Even if we shouldn't have to wait for I shouldn't have to wait for my mom to pass in a violent way or your mom to pass in a violent way because I know you to now care. We should just treat each other with empathy and know that humans are really just humans, and most of the grownups out here are angry children that grew up with some issues that they haven't really figured out yet. And also, keep that in mind. But at the same time, write your stories out. Don't wait for anybody to give you opportunity. Yeah. Write your own stories out about the half Mexican, half Caucasian guy who is trying, you know what I mean? Because that resonates. There's so many more Ryans looking and hoping for a Ryan to be in that space. Yeah. So it's a responsibility. So go out and start doing your own stuff. Make sure it's quality. Yeah. You'll have a couple of shots at it. But go out and, get that iPhone camera. Everybody has a phone now. These cameras are amazing on these phones. Start shooting like a little 5-page script about a boy growing up not knowing his nationality or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Start getting the stories out, because we can't keep fighting for these stories when they had stories that wasn't made for us. So now, as artists, we need to start telling our own stories, and now they will start knocking on your door for your stories. So that's how we got to do it.
So beautiful. Thank you for that. And
always.
And dude, this has been an incredible conversation. This is my final question for you before.
One question for you.
Well,
one question. Do you speak Spanish?
Más o menos. I need to get more fluent, man.
See, and these are questions these are the amazing things that we have to like talk about, right?
Yeah.
Because one of my characters in my third book, her name is Choice. She's half Mexican and half Caucasian, but she doesn't know. Well, she's very proud of her Mexican heritage, so she knows Spanish, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't fun to me. So if you say you were Mexican, right, I would automatically be like, oh, you speak Spanish. But I didn't know that a lot of Mexican people that have come here, their parents were not allowing them to speak Spanish at home because they wanted them to have the American dream.
That's literally what happened to my father. You know, he was called Taco Lips, and you know, there was such great shame brought to him. I think it you know, kind of similar to what you said. You know, it haunted him, and
exactly.
I'm fortunate in some ways, but I really regret not, you know, obviously I took it in high school, but I wish I would have taken it more seriously, because when you're young, you know, you don't know, everyone tells you how important it is and focus, but you really don't know until you're older and you have that maturity to be like, I get what they were telling me then, you know?
But then you understand that in a way your dad was trying to protect you, right? Because now, you know, it's amazing that you can actually discover that part of you. But these are the conversations that we need to have, because then as a Black man, you can also relate to my pain as well.
Yeah.
You know, pain is pain. So I think once we start talking about pain and actually sharing these stories with each other, we will really realize that all of us are mostly the same.
I agree. You know, that's why I'm an equal opportunity humanizer, man. You know, that's why I got in here.
Yeah, and with George Floyd, the reason that story in his death became so big, I feel like as soon as that man said, "Mama," when you hear the audio of "Mama," no matter what color you are, you know how you are. If you're in that much pain, to scream out "Mama" as a grown man, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Look at that,
dude.
It connects all of us, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. We need to have these conversations and understand that I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. We are just on different paths, and we're brothers and sisters at the end of the day. And that's what I try to do in my work and everything in my life. And I feel like that's why I've been so blessed, because that's really, really in my heart. I feel like everybody's one, and we just really, once we let those lenses down and this class stuff and really start really trying to touch people with our heart and our energy, the world will be such a better place. And even like now with COVID, it's happened for a reason. Now, when we actually can start integrating and talking to people, you're going to talk to everybody.
Oh my God, I know. Never taking it for granted again.
Like, hey, how you doing? Can I get a hug? Here we go. Hey, let me pick that up for you. You know what I mean? So I think everything happens for a reason. So this hopefully will bring us closer together, just as a human race, not just a human race.
And I'm curious, you know, final question is, you know, for the young Terrence that's in Cleveland, Mississippi, or, you know, the young actor that's in where I grew up, Richmond, Virginia, you know, any words of wisdom to these people that didn't grow up from a family that's in the business and don't have immense means of wealth and have this dream to be an artist? What
I would say, read as much as you can. You're blessed to have, I know it may feel like, you know, Cleveland, Mississippi was so far away. I'm like, how in the world am I going to do this? But I knew I had to, it was work ethic. So read as much as you can. And now that we have the internet and Google, I say there's a blueprint already out there. What I'm doing is nothing new. It's already out there. So start watching documentaries about the stars that you look up to, and you'll find that they went through a lot of hardships to get to where they are.
Yeah.
So, and that will let you know that, you know, that little town that you're in is really just a little step to compare it to this huge world that you can step into. So read as much as you can, look and study the craft that you want to go into, and never be closed-minded where you like, I only can do this. Because you never know, it may fall another way, but always just be ready for the opportunity. Just be a good person and go to school. Go to school. I definitely go. if you're in a small town, definitely go to college. Outside of it, so even if my college is 45 minutes away from home, go to college to start learning what type of person you are on your own, how to live on your own. Yeah. And then after college, make that leap to the LA or New York. And
or Atlanta now, I guess.
Or Atlanta. So if you're in that spot right now where you just graduated and you're like, what do I do? Let me save up money. Let me save up. No, when you graduated, I moved to LA 2 days after I graduated. Wow. So that nothing could stop me or get in my way. So I didn't care how much money I had in the bank. I said August 28th, I was going to be in LA no matter what. And I knew that a year before whatever else. So after I graduated 2 days later, I was out. So you have to set your plans in stone, because if not, you're never going to have enough money to save up to get out here. Because I went broke within 2 days because I didn't know what a parking sign was. So my car got towed. Like, I was like, what do you mean? There's parking instructions? What is a meter? So my car got towed like 5 times, and it was almost $800 every time to get it out. So all that little savings that I thought I had went away like that. So you're never going to have enough money to quote unquote have a start. So just have the audacity and the drive and work hard and treat people the way you want to be treated, and surround yourself with the right people. Because once you work hard, people admire and people love to help people who work hard.
Yeah. Terrence Terrell, man, I am so proud of you. It's very rare that I say that. Everything that has happened to you is pure justice. The best is yet to come, man. It was a true honor talking with you. I have so much gratitude for you opening up and giving back to everyone. And please come back, man, when the animated show or the movie. Let's do this again, man.
When I tell you, Ryan, it's freaking me out, and we'll know by next week. But I'm
knocking on wood.
We'll know by next week. Like, just knowing who I know who I want to go with. But Ryan, when I tell you, being a little boy from Cleveland, Mississippi, and poor at one point, having the same shoe for 3 years, to now these amazing people in high positions emailing like, hey, send it over. We want to make sure we set up the right team to make sure your word get out there. Yeah. So it's like, just be you. No, it may get hard. You're going to have some dark times, but know that you're going to go through it. And once you get past it, the world is yours. You do whatever you want.
I can't think of a better way to end this conversation, man. So much love, brother. I'm going to shoot you a follow on Instagram now. Stay in touch and come back, man, please.
I will. Anytime. Just let me know, man. And continue doing what you're doing, because there's a lot of Ryans looking up to you for that spot. So just continue doing exactly what you're doing.
It means more to me than I can ever articulate, brother. So much love, Terrence. All right?
Thank you.
All right, brother.
I am thrilled to announce that An Actor Despairs is partnering with a wonderful CBD company called Kind Farms. Everyone out there has heard of CBD. I started taking it a few years ago when I first started getting sober and to help with my anxiety. Sadly, as one can do, I was overtraining in the gym, and a friend recommended a topical and a tincture to help with the pain. I tried it. It was okay. However, recently, I was introduced to a product that has really changed my life. Not only has it helped me with anxiety, but I am stronger than I have ever been. I'm able to carry out lifts my body used to prevent me from doing. Kind Farm products have single-handedly changed my life athletically and personally. They utilize 100% local licensed farmers, organic cultivation, and CO2 extraction for superior CBD. Kind Farms is turning CBD to a kind alternative to pharmaceuticals. Let's transform Tobacco Row into Hemp Row. If you want to get involved, please reach out. Together, we can make a difference. You can use my code RYAN10 for 10% off. You can find them on Instagram at Kind Farms Inc., all one word. That's KINDPHARMSINC, and their website is kindfarmsinc.com. Once again, my code for 10% off is Ryan.